German Chancellor Angela Merkel and the CSU party have resolved a clash over migration policy. This signals an end to a coalition split that risked bringing down her government. So we're joined now by Bloomberg editor Tony Czuczka by phone from Berlin with the latest. Tony, give us a little more context here. What specifically unlocked this deal?
Well, it's been a very tense day, as you can imagine, and it's actually been a pretty tense 2 weeks or so in German politics. And the way it was resolved was that Angela Merkel, who has argued consistently for a European solution, in other words, not to take unilateral measures at the border that would sort of risk bottling up refugees on the other side of the German border, she has now agreed to a system of what they're calling transit centers, in other words, sort of holding centers for certain asylum seekers who show up at the German border that Germany does not want to admit anymore. And that is what unlocked the deal today. It's a sort of it is ultimately a concession to the party that's been badgering her on this, the Bavarian party that's part of her coalition.
Tony, does this put an end permanently to the infighting between Merkel's party and her Bavarian sister party?
Well, you know, if you say permanently, that's a big if, right? I mean, this has been a very tense thing. It's been hard fought. It's been a very visceral and emotional issue, as migration is in most countries. And the question is, where do you go from here? Well, that remains to be seen. Whether and what remains to be seen is whether the CSU, which is a sort of a very conservative party compared to Merkel's bigger CDU, whether they've scented blood and whether they think that she's weakened. On the face of it right now, I'd say she isn't, and she's kind of fought off another threat to her long reign, but that is something that the future will tell.
Yeah, you know, you talk about how the sister party had to make some concessions. Did she have to make any concessions? Where does she stand now going forward?
Well, I think as usual with a compromise, and especially in Germany, which you know has a long history of doing politics by consensus, unlike some other countries that I can think of. That kind of, and that's the sort of deal that saved the day today. And I think Merkel basically gave in saying, yes, we can take the risk. I think that there may be, you know, ugly scenes at the German border. But the deal also says that we will not send them back to other European countries where they first arrived without those countries' consent. Now, that's, you know, Merkel's signature, which is that we don't want to create further conflict within the European Union over migration.